Today we're fixing up 2 easy, amazing breakfast casseroles, and I promise you're going to love both of these. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Melissa Diane. So let's go ahead and jump into our first breakfast casserole. For our ingredients, we're going to need some tater tots. So yes, y'all, this one's going to use some tater tots. This is going to be so fun. Along with the tater tots, we're going to be using some eggs. We're going to be using some salt. We got some pepper here. And then some milk. You need some whole milk. And then some green onions. And I've got some, what I did for these is when I've chopped them up, I've separated them. So I have the green part here and I have the white part here of the scallions. You're going to need a jar of pimentos. And then some parsley that's chopped up. You want some bacon that's chopped up. Some sour cream. And then some shredded cheese. And as we go through the recipe, I'll be giving you the measurements and a few other tips about them. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our tater tots. Now this is one bag. It's 30 ounces. So you need one 30 ounce or 32 ounce bag of tater tots. And I'm going to take these. These were frozen. And I took them out last night and just put them in the refrigerator because you do want to thaw them out. And I'm going to lay them actually out on a tray first. And the reason is I'm supposed to take about half of these tater tots and put them in the bottom of the casserole. And the other half we're going to put on top. And so I can't really tell what a half is by just looking in that bag. So we're going to put these out like this. Now here's something interesting about these tots. A lot of times tater tots are the tall kind of rectangle ones. They're kind of fat, and those are perfect for this. These happen to be something I've never used before. I thought I'd try it. These are called crispy crowns. So instead of big and tall and fat, they're kind of wide, and I think these are going to be great too, but you can use either one. Okay, so we've got our tater tots laid out here, and now you're going to take a baking dish. I've got a 13 by 9. And you're going to put a little bit of cooking spray all along the bottom. And then, let's get this over here. Then you're going to take half of these tater tots. Okay, so put these in here. And I'll show you what this is going to look like in a second. And we're just going to be lining the bottom, y'all, of this baking dish with these tater tots. Okay, let me show you what I've done. I made a change on something. I started out using this 13 by 9 baking dish. And when I started putting the tater tots in, I thought, it's a little deeper, I think, than I really want. Now, if I was using the tall tater tots that stand up, that might be a good dish to use. But since we're using these flat crowns, look what I've done. I've taken this 13 by 9 dish because it's a little bit shallower. It's not quite as deep, and I think this will be better for our other casserole. And if you get a 30 ounce bag of those tater tot crowns, then actually this right here, there's 54 of them that fit in the bottom. And then you have exactly the same amount over here to go on top with a couple of extra. So that's perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our eggs. We're going to get all of these eggs cracked up. And there's 10 eggs that you need. So I'm going to get these cracked and get them in a mixing bowl. And then we're going to add in our other ingredients. Okay, so we've got our 10 eggs in here. And we're just going to whisk these all up. And then we're going to start in adding all of our other ingredients. And so the first thing that we're going to add to this, once we get it all whisked up, is some milk. And y'all, this is just the easiest recipe. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take our milk, we're going to add our milk in. Now this is 1 cup of whole milk. Okay, now once we get that all whisked together, we've got a couple of egg yolks here. Hang on one second. We've got a couple of egg yolks that need to be, there we go. Now we're going to add in our sour cream. And this is a 1/2 cup. So we got 1/2 cup. There we go. And this, I will tell you what, y'all, this little tool right here, I'll put a link for this little tool. I got this little spatula, but it's a special little thing. I got this at Sur La Table, but I found it on Amazon. So I'll put a link for you for this little thing because I love it. It's fantastic. All right, now, once we've got that in, let's get that all whisked up. And now I think the next thing we're going to put in is our pimentos. And y'all, if you were looking for something, if you're looking for a breakfast casserole that's good for like Christmas or the holidays, this is perfect because you can use it any time of the year. But the reason I say it's perfect for the holidays is there's so much red and green in it that when it cooks up, it's just really pretty. Okay. Now those pimentos, that's a 4-ounce jar. And if you're shopping, usually pimentos come in 2 sizes. You've got your little tiny 2-ounce, and this one's a little bit bigger. It's the 4-ounce. And now we're gonna put in our onions. We'll put our scallions in. And this was one bunch that I chopped up. I went ahead and put all of the white part in. The other part, I'm gonna put just about half of the green part of the scallion because I think I want to take some of this and put on the very top when we get done before we cook it. So here we go. And like I said, you can see how pretty this is when it starts to get mixed up. Now, I think that's all for right now, except let's go ahead and put a little bit of salt in. I just put a little bit across the top. Okay. And then just a little bit of coarse ground black pepper. This is probably about a half a teaspoon when you put this in. Not a lot, just there. There you go. Just a little bit for some flavor. So let's go ahead and get this mixed. Now after you have that all mixed up, you're going to take your shredded cheese. And we're going to use about 1.5 cups right now, and then about 1/2 cup for the topping. But y'all, when you do your shredded cheese, this is Colby Monterey Jack cheese. This is really good for this recipe. And usually what I do is I like to shred my own cheese, and it's really easy. You can just shred it with your shredder, or you can put it, if you have a KitchenAid mixer, if you have an attachment, you can also do that. But it tastes different. It tastes a lot better than the store-bought, and also it's just better for you. And so let me go ahead and I'm going to put this in here. And you'll notice if you do shred your own cheese that it clumps together some. It doesn't stay as separated, and that's okay. It just doesn't have all those extra preservatives that cause it to separate. But when you're cooking with it, it cooks better and it also tastes better. So let's see, we've got about 1.5. I'll do just a little bit more just to make it completely, let's see. Yes, it's 1.5. So we're gonna put 1.5 in now. And then we're gonna put 1/2 to 1 on the top. So let's go ahead now and get this all in. Y'all, this is looking good. Now, once you get your cheese, your shredded cheese all whisked in, we're gonna put in what really makes the difference. We're gonna put in our bacon. And this is a cup of chopped up bacon. And that was about, I think it was either 5 or 6 strips of bacon. And I like to cook my bacon in the air fryer. And I will give you a link for a video I have that shows how to do that, because y'all, it comes out so good. It's not messy, and it's just super easy to do. You can put the bacon in your air fryer. I have the one that has the trays. You could also do the other, but you can put it in there and then walk off and not even have to worry about it for about 13 minutes. And when you go back, it's perfect and ready. And so what you do with this is you take that bacon, however you cook it, and you let it cool, and then you chop it up before you put it in here. So here we go. I think that is everything. Let me double check my recipe. So I did find one thing. Here we go, our parsley. This is about, I think that's about 1/4 cup of parsley that I put in here. It's a good amount, but it does make a difference. And I may put a little bit of that also on the top. So here we go. Now what we're gonna do, once we have got this all mixed up, is we're gonna take our baking dish, here you go, it has all of our tater tots right here, and we are going to put this on top. We're just gonna pour this on top. So here we go. And we're just gonna spread it out. Let's get everything out of our bowl. Okay. There we go. So y'all, you can see how easy this is. You just put your tater tots in the bottom. You do your mixture. These little guys are floating up here at the end. I'm gonna push them back down. And it is obviously very liquidy. And I'll bring you around here so you can see better. Okay, so here we are up close. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these tater tots and we're just gonna place them all across the top here of our casserole. Now that we've got all of our tater tots on top, now I'm going to take just a little bit of cheese, probably about half a cup, I'm thinking. Let's see. Let's try a half a cup. And we're just going to sprinkle this all over the top. So let's see if half a cup will do it. We're not going to coat it completely. We're just going to put kind of to sprinkle it over just to give it a little bit of cheese on the top. So I did just a little cheese. And now I'm going to take just a few of these little green onions and I'm going to put them kind of all over the top. And then I think I'll finish that up with just a little more cheese. Okay, now, so we've got all of this on. I think it is looking great. And so I'm going to meet you over at the oven. We have our oven preheated to 350. So we're going to get our casserole in here. And this little guy is going to go in here for about 45 to 50 minutes. While our first casserole is cooking, we're going to go ahead and mix together our second breakfast casserole. So let me show you all the ingredients we're going to be using for this one. Y'all, this one is so good. We're going to be using some hash browns. Now, this is a 1 pound or it's a 20-ounce bag of hash browns. And they are frozen. You do want to go ahead and thaw them out before you use them. We're going to want some eggs. For our eggs, here we go. I've got 8 eggs for this recipe. Then you have some chopped onions, and this is about 1 cup of chopped onions. For seasoning, we're going to be using some Italian Choice seasoning. I'll leave you a link for this. This one's called Gourmet Italian Choice, and y'all, this is fantastic. I use it all the time. If you've got fresh herbs, then please run out and get your fresh herbs, but if it's winter time like it is here, this will work really, really well. And then we're going to use just a little bit of ground pepper, some coarse ground black pepper, and then a little bit of salt, just a little. You're going to use 1 can of evaporated milk, okay? And for your cheese, you're going to be using 2 cups of shredded cheese, and I like to use sharp cheddar cheese. Along with those ingredients, you are going to be using some sausage, about 1 pound of cooked sausage, and I have that here in the back, and it's just about finished, and you can use any kind of sausage that you want. So now we're ready to put our casserole together, and the first thing you're going to do is take your hash browns, your thawed out hash browns, and we're just going to dump these in our 13 by 9 baking dish. And make sure that you do grease the bottom with something. There was some oil or with some spray, but you do need the bottom of this really greased. So now just take yourself like a wooden spoon or a spatula, and we're just going to flatten these out all along the bottom. You can just mix these in with the mixture that goes on the bottom, but I find that I just like the bottom of the pieces of the casserole to kind of have like a little bit of a crust to them. And if I put the hash browns like this, then that's what you're going to end up with. Okay, now on top of that, we're going to put our sausage. So you take your sausage, you need to cook it before you put it in here. Even though this is going to go in the oven, you want your sausage to be cooked. And I have got about 1 pound here of some cooked sausage. And I'm going to, here, 1 second, I'm going to chop a few of these pieces up just a little more. And you can use any kind of sausage that you want for this recipe. I'm using some sausage that from one of Jay's hunts, and it has a little bit of some spice in it. So I'm careful about adding too many more spices. If you're using sausage that does not have any spice to it and you want even a little more kick, you can take some jalapenos if you want and chop those up and put that in this recipe. I just don't do that because it'll make it a little bit too spicy. Okay, so there I've got my sausage. Now on top of that, I'm going to put my onions. And I have got about a cup here of chopped up onions. Something you can do if you're going to be really busy and want to do this ahead of time, if you're doing this for some company coming, what you can do is you can take your onions and, let me spread these, and you can chop them up ahead of time and then vacuum seal them and freeze them for several weeks. And then if you do that, then when you take them out of the freezer, you just drain them because a little bit of water will have formed. But the flavor, y'all, is still the same, and it saves you so much time. So after your onions, let me set that aside. After your onions, you're going to go ahead and put part of your cheese. And this is about, I think I got about a cup and a half here of shredded cheese. Okay, I'm gonna put this all over. And this just makes such a wonderful casserole. It's very easy to do. And your family and company are just gonna love it. This is another casserole that's great to do like on a Thanksgiving morning or a Christmas morning because you can fix this ahead of time. You can do the whole casserole. And if you want to, you can then just, once you've made it, you can just seal it all up. You can wrap it up with some saran wrap and foil and then pull it out from the freezer and thaw it out and cook it. Or you can go ahead and cook it and still do the same thing, freeze it for a few days. Okay, so there we go. Now, once we've done that, we're going to get the rest of our ingredients mixed up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take, let me scoot this over here, we're going to take our eggs and we're going to whisk them just like we did with the other recipe. This is 8 eggs. We're going to get them whisked up. And in this recipe, we're using a can of evaporated milk. Now, another thing you can do with this recipe is that once you've done this, if you don't want to put it in a 13 by 9 baking dish, you can get a muffin tin. And I think some of them have some good sized muffins with like 12 on the pan. And I've done that before also. And then you just have 12 individual little breakfast muffins. Now, once that's done, you're going to put in your spices, and we're going to put in this gourmet Italian choice that I told you about, and I just go across the whole top of it. I just cover the top with this. It's really good. And then when it comes to salt, I just put a little bit of salt in. I don't put very much, just a little bit right there to help with the taste, and then just a little bit of coarse ground black pepper. I just kind of go across the top. Now, another thing that I have done sometimes to give this a little kick if you want to, and I think I might do that today. Here goes. Let me just reach under here. And it doesn't give it a big kick, but it gives it a little. Let me look in my spices. Sometimes I like to take just a little bit of some crushed red pepper and put in here. So you're just going to take, if you want just a little kick, put just a little bit across the top. There it goes. That's all you need. Tastes really good. I'm going to mix this all up. And let's just double check my little recipe here that I have. And let's make sure, I think we've got everything. Yep, we do. We got the sausage in. Okay. So we're going to take this now and we're going to pour this all across the top and let it settle in. Here we go. Okay. Get all of it in there. All right. And then we're going to take, looking for my wooden spoon. Here we go. We're going to take this and just spread it a little bit. There we go. Just kind of push that around so you can see how we're doing. Okay. Got a little bit needs to go to that corner down there. There we go. All right. And now I'm just going to take a little more cheese and put across the top. Okay, now for both of these recipes, what I like to do after it comes out of the oven is I like to take just a little bit of some more chopped up fresh parsley and put across the top. Okay, now we are ready, and as soon as the other casserole comes out, we're going to put this one in, so I'll see you over at the oven. Our tater tot casserole, look at this, y'all. Let me step back a little so you can see it. It's looking so good. It's a little bit starting to get golden brown on top, so I think we're going to take it out. Okay, y'all, this turned out so good. Looky here. I think it turned out so pretty, and it's really that golden brown on top from those tots. Just, I think, really just sets it off. So here we go. We're going to take a test, and we're going to taste this. I will have to tell you, Jay came in here earlier, and he grabbed a bite, and then he left, and he tasted it before I did, and he said, oh, he loved it. So I'm going to take a taste and see. I can see the bacon. Very nice. Oh, it is so good. Y'all, this is definitely a keeper. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit more spice to it, but I think that it turned out fantastic. So now let's go over and see how our second casserole is coming along. Okay, we've got our second casserole here, and it is all ready to go into the oven, and we're going to put it in the oven for about 35 minutes. And it's also on 350. Looky here, our second casserole is out. Oh my gosh, y'all, this sausage casserole looks amazing. So now we're gonna have to give this one a taste. Okay, y'all, so now we're gonna taste this second casserole. This is the sausage casserole. So here we go. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is so good. And I have to tell you that I really do like putting those hash browns on the bottom. It just really helps give a little crust there on the bottom for this casserole. So please try both of them and then let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. And be sure and check out that next video that's popping up, and I'll see you over there in a few minutes. Bye-bye.